Yeah.
But hold that thought. We are going to be seeing a nice little bit of harassment coming in from Maru. He's going to split off the Reaper into the main base. Hellion in the natural. Showtime, though, with a solid defense, is going to be able to pick off both Reapers, and I think he'll get that Hellion as well. It is very much trapped in the bottom right. Pretty solid defense, but Maru does at least get the scout, so there's that.
Yeah. Having an extra gas geyser makes a world of difference for your third base as a Protoss player. But Widowmine drop comes in over here. Showtime, very quick to react, has just enough probes there to try and set off versus one Widowmine. Picks off one of them. There's going to be a single probe picked off there. And the Phoenix popping out just the nick of time to lift up the Widowmine and the main base. Doesn't quite have the DPS to pick it off in time, though. Okay, that Oracle.
He is going into... Okay, it's charged behind the Colossi, but he started up charge well before his first Colossus. So this is going to be kind of funny, where Showtime has... He doesn't really have one specific power spike on his defense, but he's going to be slowly building power over time.
Taking a fourth base a bit earlier on is something that makes a lot of sense. He's getting ready to try and take that fourth base, but Showtime posturing is going to scare him back.
Yeah, at first I was like, man, what is he doing with those tanks? And yeah, like you said, he is actually terrified of Showtime's army. And at first glance, it doesn't look that scary, but this is a very, very wise decision from Maru right now. He recognizes that he doesn't have a ton to deal with Colossus except those siege tanks. Now, the siege tanks trying to hold the fourth base, they are going to have a tough time getting value. Siege tanks kind of huddled up in the natural or on the high ground, they are going to do extraordinarily well. That being said, Showtime's not in a position where he needs to get a lot done. Now, that being said, that could change very quickly if these Widowmines get some big damage. But, once again, Showtime is doing very, very well, and he should be able to lift this in the natural again. The defense from Showtime has been phenomenal in game number 2. Now, Showtime, he is heading up towards that Stargate transition. Unclear yet if it's going to be Tempests or if it's going to be Carriers. I do think Tempests are the higher potential unit. Oh, Stasis Ward, nice. Okay, gets a couple Marauders. That's going to allow him to maybe pick off these units. He's trying to get back in position. Maru looking for the pocket base that hasn't been taken yet. Wow, that's a lot of missile turrets. Speaking of rhyming with hurdling.
Yeah. That is a man who has had a Warp Prism warp in a few too many cells into their main. Like, how to spot a Terran player that's been scarred for life.
Yep. And you know what? On a map like Moondance, where turtling is such a strong option, I think it's a great decision. These Marauders, they come out of their stasis ward. How is this getting damage done? This has no business doing this. And I would say the most impactful thing right here is actually the fact that he sees the carrier transition right as it's trying to start on up. A little Zealot run by from Showtime gets, I mean, it gets a turret, so that's kind of nice. The big thing that's good for Showtime is that his eco is... He's the first one to start building a bank.
We are going to see it. Showtime doing a little move out over here. I don't hate these kind of move outs and stuff, but I feel like if you are going to do these, I really like when the Protoss player just gets not even like, see, you're going to be taking damage like this. This is what always gets really scary. If you have even just one or two Tempests, oh my god, that Tempest, or sorry, that Psystorm damage is phenomenal.
That is what I was just going to say. You can't be moving out without Storm to cover against these Vikings. And we saw the first EMP went off pretty nicely. But the second Templar, I don't know if it was the same Templar that still had energy or what it was. But man, oh man, did that ever get a huge Storm.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. This is such an intricate dance and everything. I do want to quickly note, Maru, yes, he doesn't have as big of a bank as Showtime. And that's partially because of, just overall mining base and everything. But also... I do think Maru has been investing a lot more into static defense compared to Showtime. Like,
yes,
substantially more. It's not because Protoss players can't invest into static defense as much. You can find the ability to make lots more cannons and shield batteries and stuff, especially aggressively, if you want to try and really get in your opponent's face and stuff. But it's an intentional decision for Maru to basically just say he's not really getting too aggressive. I think this is the one exception base because, well, this is just so close that it's almost Maru being defensive right now.
Yeah, exactly. And you just want to keep your opponent off these kinds of bases. These are going to be the kind of contentious bases as the game... Like, we're obviously still a ways away from going there, but if the game goes to a split map scenario, it's going to be these high ground bases that are going to be the big points of contention, and whoever mined more from them could end up taking the game. Now, that being said, we are going to see a huge EMP all over the army. Showtime with a little bit of a late storm right there. You know, that was in a different time zone, technically. We do have a really great revelation, and both players are doing a great job with the vision, but I love the usage of some nukes right now, because this is absolutely going to force Showtime's army back. He has no way to really get at that ghost, and wow, look at that, the nuke even gets the kill. I mean, obviously that Nexus was gonna go down anyways, but, you know, there's always something special about the nuke getting the kill. It's nice.
Yeah, gonna be a good feeling there for Maru as he progresses forward and says, well, I guess I can rotate around. I mean, this is also technically my base. I mean, doesn't this all belong to me? Don't I deserve this base as well? He's gonna be able to, you know, again, continue to EMP, not just the units and stuff, not just the High Templar, but I mean, even just EMPing the siege or the cannons and stuff is gonna, if there were any shield batteries back further, that would also drain some of the shield battery energy. It just makes everything so annoying here for Showtime. It really puts the pressure on. It makes you feel like you have to do something. And the last thing Showtime actually wants to do right now is attack into that sieged up position of Maru.
Yeah, I actually feel like Showtime, I feel like he has to kind of give up this position and at the very least threaten a counterattack. He can't just chill here. Ooh, pretty decent nuke on, gets a couple of probes and really chips away at the static defenses as well. We are seeing some nice kiting right here. SCVs being brought to the front line to repair up some of these Vikings. The one thing I will say, but I don't think Showtime is going to be able to get the opportunity to do it. If he can get a big trade out, I haven't mentioned this yet. We haven't mentioned it yet. There are 23 gateways on the map. He can have 46 army supply in an instant to repop. But will they ever wipe each other's armies out enough such that that is relevant? That's the big question for me.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I think another thing that I oftentimes feel like I see a lot of Protoss players try and do in this situation, nice Disruptors actually zoned back quite a bit of the army and actually managed to snag a few ghosts. I was going to say is that I feel like we oftentimes see Protoss players trying to find even just a little bit of supply for like DT run-bys on other bases and stuff. Basically, I think this is such, as you said, a micro-intensive situation. You have to be so attentive. Even at the absolute top level, things like this can happen if you're not looking for an instant. So having even a little bit of the attention diverted away for a bit can be really, really powerful. You know, even just like 4 or 5 DPs. I do trust Showtime. You know, he knows a lot better than I do, especially in these kind of late game situations, that kind of knows what he's doing. Maybe he's, you know, fine, or figures that Maru's just going to have too many defenses set up, like a PF and, you know, a bunch of missile turrets and stuff, where he doesn't want to sacrifice the supply, I guess, and on another side of the map. But I really wouldn't mind if you just find a way to trade out maybe some of like the little stalkers or something, and just even a 4 or 5 DT run by can really pull the attention away.
Absolutely. We are seeing the Tempest continue to get some good stuff done. Great storm right there from Showtime on the Vikings. We do see the second storm hits a couple of ghosts. And actually, are there any medevacs? There are no medevacs on the field. Those ghosts are really under duress right now. And they got to be careful about Colossus. They got to be careful about any kind of chip damage. Ghosts are tanky, but they're not. They don't have infinite HP by any stretch. They only have 100 HP. And they're expensive units, too. Something else that is really, really getting important at this point is the units lost. And Maru, for a little bit, it was dead even. And then he took some nice trades on at that outside base. He went up by about 2,000. Now we're seeing Showtime after that disruptor shot, after reclaiming this high ground and kind of baking the momentum of Maru. It's now Showtime who's ahead 2,000 resources. And he's got a gigantic bag.
You know, I feel like I could read off the mineral. Oh my God, that storm is so nice, even with all the SCVs repairing. I feel like I could read off the number of like minerals that Showtime has, but I feel like it's better put into the sense that Showtime has 150 zealots in bank. He can warp in 150 zealots, guys. Like, that's a big bank. Ooh, that's also. I love the disruptors trying to actually hit some of the SCVs that are repairing these Vikings as well. That's a very nice use of them.
Yeah, this is such patient play from Showtime right here. We do have to see. Okay, he does pull back from the nuke. Good stuff. Oh, SCVs are starting to go down on the left side as well, to a little bit of a run by. This is where, oh wow, why is that an orbital? That is a very confusing move to me, the fact that that's an orbital. Maybe he's worried about blink DTs.
Yeah.
Showtime does need to avoid this nuke once again. Oh, the disruptors!
He's gonna kill it. Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say is that Showtime has let a couple of bases get up that I would have really preferred to not see him let go up. Specifically that top right corner. The problem is this position that Maru is in threatens so much space. There's a reason that neither one of them wants to give it up. Like this controls so much of the map right now. Really controls the entirety of that top right. Oh, and as I say that, Maru is actually going to give up the position. But now, if he does so, this completely exposes his top two right bases.
Yeah, you know, it's a really interesting call because I think that Maru is just going to go for the counterattack, right? Because Showtime's army is not exactly super mobile. He can rely a little bit on some of the storms and stuff, but that's only going to do so much damage, right? Can he actually zone him back entirely? Wait, Maru's retreating. Maru doesn't feel like he can move up that ramp, and he's basically, like you said, Steadfast, he's traded out one of his bases for absolutely nothing. He might be trading out a second base as long as Showtime can just get out of here safely, and he does.
Oh, but he doesn't kill the base. There wasn't enough like anti-building DPS, and now we see a bit of a stumbling retreat from Showtime. He is going to lose a couple of the carriers on a really unfortunate rally right there. The Viking count is so high. Where are the High Templar? Does he have any Storm available? He's got 9 High Templar on the map, but I don't... Are they just further back in the army? Okay, they're further back in the army. Oh, man, this is... Well, it almost feels like a bait, but I don't understand how it works. Like, he was like, oh, yes, I'm going to bait you into pushing forward, and then you'll be uncomfortable when I actually return over here. Oh, the feedbacks. Oh, my goodness, those are some huge feedbacks.
Nuke. Okay, Nuke is going to go off, soften up some of the Tempest, but, you know, not too hit. Mostly the shields get taken off, and the shield batteries take care of that. Nexus goes down, but that base was definitely one that's been up for a bit. So I don't think Showtime's going to have his economy hurt too much. It's funny enough, it's both players that I feel like all of their fresh bases, outside of like this high ground location that Showtime has expanded to, all of the fresh bases are really on the bottom left for both players. And neither one of their players are actually putting any other army there.
Yeah, this observer, okay, I was just about to say, if Maru doesn't see this observer, that could be catastrophic for him, but he does see it. Huge EMP on those Tempests. But they're just going to pull back to the shield battery. Nice EMP on the Oracle, and he gets the kill with the Ghosts as well. Yeah. Damn, nicely done by Maru. Showtime is going to replenish with 2 more Oracles, and he's finally getting Blink DTs. I do want to point out by the way, that Showtime never got +3 shields, never got +3 air armor, whereas Maru has all 15 upgrades. He even got the high capacity fuel tanks for the memes, obviously, because why else would you get it? It is obviously very good on medevacs, but they're not going to be that handy here. He once again can't get the base. And yeah, Maru's treating this as a trap, saying, Showtime, if you get your army stuck up there, I'm going to kill it. I think I would actually really like to see, by the way, Showtime using a mothership just for recalls.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a really cute and nice move there, as a lot of these DTs are actually getting EMP'd, and we're seeing Showtime very much on the retreat over here, as a couple of storms are going to be able to zone out so many of the Vikings. The Ghosts all going to get taken out by the Disruptors. It is a massive trade on both sides, but I have to say, Showtime is fighting closer to his shield batteries, and now the massive Blink Stalker warp in. But the Blink forward isn't quite in range of a lot of these liberators. He takes a bit more damage than maybe he wants to. Showtime is going to be trailing a bit behind in supply, but his supply is here now. Maru's is in production.
And it's not just that first warp in, it's the second one as well. He's going to be able to replenish so much quicker. We do have to point out, by the way, that Showtime has a very, very small amount of gas relative to his gigantic mineral bank. He is going to blink forward here. He's got an Immortal and a couple of Archons. He will take down this Planetary, so there's that at least. But look at the Liberator production. There are 9 Liberators on the way, 5 Ghosts, 2 tanks. This is a mech rebuild if ever there was one. But 3 of these Liberators are going to pop out to their doom, and he's going to lose these 3 starports as well. This is what I was actually almost more concerned about on this top right side, was the production and the map control that you give up by losing this. I really wish he'd killed off that one Liberator, but he's going to blink up to the top side. Uh-oh, he's got to be careful. He has to secure a retreat path.
Yeah, you do not want to get stuck up on the high ground over there against this kind of army, but it does seem like Showtime is going to be able to escape out of there okay. Maru has expended his entire bank, and he's still not maxed out, and we see Showtime doing a very aggressive blink forward into Siege Tank, into Siege Liberators. not the trade he wants. And now Showtime has an awkward task of trying to get up to his high ground around a very, very long pathway. He's trying to shield better, overcharge to keep this Nexus alive, but with the pylon getting depowered, it is going to fall.
Yeah, but he doesn't need this Nexus. He shouldn't even be fighting in this location. He just rebuilt a massively mobile army. He should go over to the left side and thank Maru for the fact that he's, once again, this is an orbital. And more SCVs are going to fall. Maru's only on 30 SCVs. Now, that doesn't mean he's on 162 army supply, which is gigantic. But now he moves in with the main army. Something else we have to point out, by the way, I don't think he ever got tectonic destabilizers.
No, he didn't. This was bug. I was looking for the right moment when we didn't have action happening, but that is something that is bugging me because a bunch of the times he was hitting the top right-hand side with his Tempest, he could have killed that base if he had tectonic destabilizers. The Tempest upgrade versus buildings. Oh my god, these storms, so good as Maru just walks straight on through them. He does have a few medevacs to actually heal up some of that army, but definitely ends up taking quite a few losses over there and is a beaten and battered army, especially on an army that really does need that starport time after having lost so many starports to just make more Vikings and more Liberators. So there aren't going to be a lot of medevacs coming out for a bit. Man, the resources lost is actually pretty even, but 5,000 more resources lost there for Maru still.
And we've been talking about the bank the whole time, but that's been the story of this game, is that Showtime's bank is just gigantic. Now, that nuke on the bottom left, I really, really like that. We'll keep an eye on that. Okay, Showtime does pull the probes, but it's important to note he doesn't have any static defenses at the top of this ramp to prevent the Ghost from just walking up here. Another important thing to note, and you kind of touched on it a little bit, is that the Viking count is very low. If there was like 12 Tempests on the map right now, I don't know that Maru could actually fight it. As it is, there's 8, and that's still going to be very difficult to deal with. Oh, lift. Oh, no.
How many orbitals does Maru have? I feel like Maru's been bleeding out a lot of orbitals here. And you mentioned earlier his worker count was not super high. Okay.
Oh. He's really, really gained ground on Showtime. But that being said, Showtime is going to go for a counterattack. And this is what I was kind of expecting earlier. He will be able to pick off a couple of tanks on the rally. No, it looks like he only got one right there. Meanwhile, the Liberator on the bottom side will get dealt with. Planetary is going to go down, but this is where that tectonic destabilizers would be so handy. Actually, getting the orbitals is almost maybe more valuable. Disruptors. Uh-oh, those tanks. Tanks got to be careful. Storm on the Liberators.
Oh my god, the EMP on this entire Protoss army, but the disruptors all land. The big connections. A couple of disruptors are left behind as they have bad pathing through and around the rock. So yeah, Showtime is actually bleeding out quite a few units over here. He still has a big bank that he can try and warp in with. Most of the air army outside of some of those Liberators have been taking care of those. So I wonder if just charge lots are going to actually be enough to break through this kind of army.
Well, they have to be because he's got no gas in the bank. He's only got 800 gas.
Okay, this is getting into a really weird spot, but he has so many minerals available. He's warping in so many Zealots at a time. He is remaking Tempest. I think that is going to be a key component of being able to take out these Liberators. Because again, most of the anti-air defenses now, it's not really like Vikings. There's a handful of Vikings, but it's actually going to be a lot of the Tempests and stuff if they can just get the damage done. And we end up seeing the Zealots just absolutely overwhelm everything on the ground.
That is a much better position for Showtime to fight into, much more wide open, and the Zealots find the value. That is the key to victory right now for Showtime, is using that mineral bank and getting the value. He does definitely overcommit into the natural, loses like 15 extra Zealots that he really didn't need to, and this game is still so close. The probe count for Showtime is actually starting to get really problematically low. While we do have Maru reestablishing that base on the top right, this game is still so close, and it is still anyone's game.
I think if Showtime can shut down the base on the top right, I actually think he has this game. But if he doesn't, if he can't shut down the mining here, then Maru does have a second shot in this. Because, yeah, he's getting the resources he needs to
He targeted the High Templar! He targeted the High Templar with the Planetary! Maru, you living legend!
This is actually turning into such a scrappy, weird game. Okay, would you recall some of your units here to take advantage of like a fight with the shield batteries?
I don't know, man. I don't know what the right decision is. I see everything, and I don't know what the right decision is. But Showtime is so all in now. He's on 15 workers, and his bank is gone. He needs to take a decisive engagement. And the loss of those high Templar, it could be massively impactful. Tank on the left side going to try and come on in. Massive flank from Showtime. He's trying to sweep in over this army. Can he do it? He blinks into the Liberators. The EMPs are gigantic. The Zealots of Showtime stuck on the right side, but the storm on the army is very huge. We are seeing the Stalkers chewing through the army of Maru, and I think Showtime might just have done it. Ghost going down on the retreat. His army is so bruised up. Both players are broke. Maru mining off of a base that's not even in the right spot. Can he get enough to survive? I don't think so. Showtime gonna find the final mining base of Maru.
I just don't see how Maru can remake the army he needs to deal with this. This orbital is going to go down. All of the SCVs are going to go down over here. There's 6 SCVs left on the map. Maru is desperately just trying to base trade. And I mean, this is realistically a pretty big win over here, sagging down that base. Even if it wasn't mining, that was going to be pretty much all of the potential mining there for Showtime outside of, I don't know, some gas at one of the bottom center bases or something. But Showtime, he's in such a good spot now. He's got a relatively even army supply, but the army he has, I think, just straight up trades better. It just is going to trade so much better than the army that Maru has.
That it does, but still one bad engagement could turn everything against Showtime. He's got to be careful. He doesn't want to attack through a choke. He wants to fight in a wide open area where the Zealots can connect with their charge very easily. This Observer could be game winning, but oh no, we're not going to see the engagement. We're not going to see the trigger being pulled. The Disruptor is massive. What a shot from Showtime. And 2 more Ghosts go down to another Disruptor right there. Nice concussive shells will take down one of those Disruptors on the retreat, but Showtime gets a bunch of damage and retreats out with the main part of his army.
And he retreats back to the shield batteries. All the EMPs effectively nullified there. He gets another one of these Ghosts. Maru's down to 3 gas right now. There is 0 gas income right now. The only thing Maru can even attempt to replenish are Marines at this point. So every one of these pickoffs is brutal. Maru is just going to be falling further and further behind. He has to just be able to force a fight somewhere, somehow, some way. And I just don't know how he's going to be able to do it.
I don't see a way either. He is going to get this base. Nope, looks like Showtime will force him back. Gets a Widow Mine. Every unit counts at this point. Showtime does pop battery overcharge. He's going to top off that Nexus a little bit, and he's going to take the fight on the ramp. Zealots kind of getting meat grinded a little bit here, but the Disruptor shot will get denied. The tanks take it out. Does Maru have enough, though? I don't think so.
The shield batteries change everything, and another Disruptor. Even if it doesn't snag the big connection, there is, in fact, a lot of shield batteries over here. GG is going to get called.
And yeah, no, it's the mining time lost. Ooh, the Oracle basically popping out at this time. Oh, pulling the probes. We didn't see the instant burrow from Maru, and that kind of cost him there a little bit. Showtime able to shut that down very, very quickly.
But Showtime is still going to be very happy. He's been able to find little bits and pieces of damage. He's kept his units and oracles alive. He's got up some, he's getting up some of the tech and stuff that's going to be helpful later on. He's gotten up his 3 bases. I think one thing I will say that is a very map dependent kind of thing. Stargazers is one of the most pain in the butt maps for dealing with drops and stuff on.
We do see Showtime. He is really starting to pull ahead in this game. Now, Maru is going to be the kind of player that is really, really difficult to kill. Oh, this is funny. Oh, that is so funny to see those 2 things next to each other. Something really interesting about this map, by the way, is if you have a primarily Stalker Colossus army. Oh, well, that's a pretty nice Widow Mine right there. If you have a primarily Stalker Colossus army, if you look at the ramp going up into the kind of from the pocket 4th now, which is what Maru is taking. If you can manage to get some Colossus and Stalkers up that location, and it works the same way technically actually over the minerals as well, you can just get a clear route right on top of the Terran production. I don't know if that'll come into effect, especially since we've got, 15 charge lots, and that's a big portion of the army. But if Showtime can find an opening, he might be able to take advantage of some of the map terrain on this map. In range, nice positioning from the Colossus. He's going to be able to find a couple of gases. Ooh, nice Disruptor shot as well. That's nice use of the position. Oh, but the Doom drop.
Yeah, and the cannons are in the main base, so they are actually there to help push back a little bit of that Doom drop, try and buy a little bit of time here. We do see a Colossus or two, actually, potentially a recall in the main base from the picture-in-picture there, able to force this back, but still, it is a recall that Showtime really didn't want to have to do. He was in such an abusive position there, down below those gas geysers, denying some mining time and everything, and now he is pulled all the way back up to the top left. I mean, it's quite literally the furthest recall you could probably go for it, from the bottom right to the top left.
Yeah, that's a big pullback. We do see a couple of ghosts getting taken down. Oh man, Maru just wants to really turn this into his playground, this top part of the map right here. And I think as Showtime, I think maybe you just take a page out of Maru's book right there, drop a bunch of cannons on that, on that little ledge and just say, no, you don't get to do this. Like, I have map control. You can't bust through the bottom, so I'm just going to hold the top.
I wouldn't even mind if you made a single Phoenix and just put it on patrol up there. Oh, finding some of the medevacs that haven't unloaded over here. Charge Loss are just trying to right-click down the planetary. They don't quite end up getting it. Disruptors getting disrupted by the interference matrix as well. And while the Disruptors do manage to find a few good connections over there, you see that Showtime has to back off for a little bit at least.
Oh, a couple of tanks unsieging. Very unfortunate moment right there for Maru, but Showtime won't be able to capitalize. The tanks are still too far back, but that could have been so much damage on Showtime's army.
It really could have. And, oh, siege tanks. Okay, another siege tank gonna get taken out. The Disruptor's doing a good job staying alive, despite feeling like they're constantly in the front lines of everything that Showtime has. They are still managing to stay in a relatively healthy number and everything. Okay, as I say that, Caster Curse, the Disruptor dies over there, but Showtime's gonna be rotating around. I also want to note that Showtime has taken the gold base.
Yes.
Throwing that out there.
That is a big deal. If you can suck up those resources and shoot them, spit them back out at your opponent, it can be a really, really beneficial thing. We're seeing Showtime committing a lot more to the DTs here. He is trying to go for what he didn't go for in map number 2, which is to, get a lot of damage done with harass. Ooh. Oh, the Disruptor! Oh, Maru wasn't paying attention! Showtime gets a massive takedown.
He might end up losing a few DTs over here, especially, I mean, he doesn't even need to scan. There's a Raven over here, but the Stalkers blink on forward. They're going to be sniping off all these ghosts. Showtime finding additional damage here. And yeah, I don't actually, okay, I was going to say I don't think he can break through on this planetary safely, but it looks like he feels confident that he can, especially with the Disruptor. It's going to be zoning out the army on the south side, gets another big connection, kills the planetary, and really all he lost were some Zealots. That was a great trade for Showtime.
This is looking phenomenal for the German Protoss player right here. I am starting to worry about Maru's chances in this game at all. Flanking Zealots coming in from the back. Tanks going down to the Disruptor shots on the front. Showtime looking to punch his ticket to the offline finals. Disruptors are going to cover the flank and will keep that army alive. Now, Showtime does need to retreat on out. He is going to recall these Disruptors, and he will save he'll save a lot of them. But he is going to lose a lot of the Colossi and a couple Disruptors on the tail end. So Maru does get a consolation prize there. And it's a big one.
It definitely is. I honestly, if Showtime didn't have the gold base right now, I would actually feel a little bit more concerned for Showtime after losing all of those very expensive units there. But he also killed off all of so much of Maru's high-tech units. Yes, we do see a lot of ghosts there from Maru, but Maru had to replenish a lot of that. And I want to note something that we don't really get to see Stargazers as often in the late game, so it's really important to note. This map, like, Showtime has taken all the bases you can reasonably take, and oh my god, this engagement is going really, really well for Showtime.
Initially, it looked pretty good for Maru because he kind of found this army, but then the Blink DTs came in and swiped down three DTs, or sorry, three ghosts almost instantly. Showtime also, massive gateway count in this game. He's on 18 gateways, so it's a similar situation, but much earlier on, where he can just remax so much more quickly. He's going to try and blink forward using the Disruptors to cover the move, and he will take down the base, no problemo.
There you go, man. And Showtime, he's in such a great spot over here. He's taking the bottom right. He's taking one of Maru's bases because he's frankly already taken every other base on the map. I think at this point, I mean, okay, I'm about to say this, even though I don't think this is what Maru's going to do. Like, Maru, I don't know if he has another option outside of just try and force an engagement and try and base trade, but he doesn't even have the actual army supply anymore. He's going to take the Disruptor hits to the face. and he is just getting overwhelmed. Our German Protoss player has taken down the legend. Maru goes down to the lower bracket, and Showtime